Good morning, alchemists. Happy Friday. This is going to be our full moon in Cancer read. So happy full moon in Cancer. That is today. Thank you for everyone who has purchased spots in my Reiki circle tonight. We will be clearing, grounding, releasing, and channeling messages for the collective and the individuals participating. So if you're interested in that, you can go ahead and click on the product link that I'll probably link this live or in the stories themselves. All right, so what do we have for this full moon in Cancer? So justice, Libra energy. Interesting. So maybe some of you out here are Libra energy or in the law or are reaching a place of justice or a place of balance in some area in your life. Let's see what area that is. Or you're placing something specific on a scale, weighing out whether it's good or bad for you or something that you want to do. Three of Wands. Yeah, so you may be weighing out the pros and cons today or in the next few days regarding a decision to be made or a plan to make regarding some kind of inspiration or something that is due to you karmically. Whenever I see the Justice card, I always think of get what you deserve kind of energy. And with the Three of Wands, it's always about planning or about taking inspired action, right? The Two of Wands is planning. The Three of Wands is more about inspired action, right? And we have the Fool on the bottom of the deck. So what's interesting about this Fool card coming out, other than we're at the beginning of the new year, of course, is that Uranus is aspecting this full moon in Cancer. And so is Chiron. So while triggering emotions may come up, there's also luck involved with this full moon in Cancer as well. And that energy of like unexpected opportunities, which Uranus brings in, right? Which is an interesting energy for a full moon because it's both lucky, but also a form of release of deep-seated emotions with that Chiron. I believe Chiron is aspecting the full moon in Cancer, and it is in Aries, okay? So there is that added intensity there as well. Let's pick a card from this deck for general energy as well. So full moon in Cancer, what is this about for us and the people watching? Let's see. Full moon in Cancer. So like the Three of Wands can also be collaborating with other like minds or working with others. The Libra energy, the 7th house kind of has that energy as well. So we have divine feminine, fertility, leadership, sensuality, Trinity, Venus, and I can't even pretend to say those names there. But what's interesting is that today is Friday and it is a Venus day as well. So this has to do with our divine feminines or divine feminine energy. And obviously we all have this energy, our sensuality. I mean, the Wands is also about our sensuality, sexuality, spirituality, right? So with the energy of fertility, obviously I have to say, for those of you who are maybe looking to get pregnant, there is that energy here. I also feel like it is something I've also read and I'm getting from this card as well is that it's a good time for connecting. And Uranus had something to do with that. It's a good time for connecting to the ether, to the all, listening to your intuition. And this is that divine feminine energy as well. It's also a good time to be planning, weighing out the options for future endeavors. Okay, taking the lead on certain projects. We have Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn, Lord of Karma, right? It says, well, Law of Karma says ancestral healing, debt paid, past life regression. We have the number 555 here and 3 here as well, which is a number of collaboration. Past life regression, Law of Karma, do-over, and rosemary. So, yeah, rosemary is a great herb to use in baths, baños, and for clearing purposes. I think you can burn rosemary too, if I'm not mistaken. But so there's ancestral healing, and with Chiron aspecting this full moon as well, it makes sense that we would be healing on that deep level, right? You see all the sacred geometry as well. We're healing on multiple levels when we're healing or when we're doing that ancestral work. And I feel like it's related to the mother because we have divine feminine here, and this is also a Cancer full moon, which has to do with the mother. Inner child wounds with the mother, or wounds with the mother, or issues or factors, or, you know, with that energy in our lives. Past life regression. Yeah, Saturn is also about, again, because it's about karma, it's things that we build over time, over lifetimes. There's also this sense of a debt being paid, right? Because we are at a full moon, we are completing a cycle, completing an energy. Especially because we're in January of a new year, we're still cycling out of the energy of last year, right? What else am I getting over this card? Some of you may be revisiting wounds regarding feminine energy, whether that be your mother or whether that be feminine energies in your life, past relationships, siblings, etc. Because it says do over here. 555 is also indicative of change, right? So there is change. The work we do on an ancestral level, on an emotional level, this, you know, this does inspire change in our vibration, right? Because we're doing the work, we're not spiritually bypassing, we're actually paying attention to what's coming up and, you know, discerning that for what it is. Let's see, what else? What other energy do we have here for this full moon? In Cancer, you have love. Yeah, today is a Venus day, so I was definitely getting that energy. I actually took out the romance angel deck as well because we are going to pull an energy, a message for that energy. This card says universal, unconditional love and source. So it isn't necessarily speaking of romantic love here, but of the love we feel when we are connected to ourselves, to our source, to our God. So it's leaning back into our connection to source, I'm getting, or leaning back into unconditional love for ourselves and others, or our mothers, or the feminine energies in our lives, or revisiting that, right? Our capacity to have an open heart when it comes to our spirituality, when it comes to the women in our lives, when it comes to the relationships in our life, right? Here we have void, empty, lonely, unfulfilled, lost, and lack. So this is some of the emotions that may be coming up for some. This energy of the void, of not seeing where things are going just yet, things seeming a little dark. You may be feeling empty, lonely, unfulfilled, or in this energy of loss or lack. And I did feel that lack come up this week, and honestly I was feeling really good. So it just came in like the minute, like I almost felt the shift into this full moon energy when I felt my emotions come up and some of that lack and kind of needy energy. So maybe you guys have been feeling that way emotionally. Again, if you are feeling that way or a little bit in the void, remember that the void, like the full card, is like that jumping point into a new cycle, a new energy, into our manifestation, etc. So the void zone, although it seems dark and inactive, it's the jumping, oh my god, I can't say this, the 0 point energy, the jumping point for our energy, right? And if you are feeling, again, this lack energy, it's about connecting back through that feminine energy to source, to your spirituality, to your sensuality, to the love that is you, to self-love. We have temptation on the bottom of the deck, impulse and betrayal. Okay, so don't be tempted by any feelings that come up that are lack. Remember that you don't have to internalize your feelings. You don't have to feed the story. You can just be a casual observer. You can say, okay, well, I felt this. Where did this come from? How is it, you know, what triggered this? And you know, be a casual observer of those emotions and apply the self-love when needed, right? As opposed to like sulking, right? I've been seeing this card a lot. Remember that everybody is their own island. This is a number 7 year. There is a lot of stuff, a lot of work that we're going to be doing on our own, but a lot of us are also going to be called to foreign places, whether they be outside of your state, outside of your city, outside of your country. Again, lonely came out twice. So this may be an emotion that a lot of people are feeling in this energy. Again, your emotions may be stirred. There's a difference between solitude and loneliness. So again, that's not the same. You can be single, you can be in solitude and not feel lonely. But if those lonely emotions are coming out, if that separation wound is coming up for you, whether that be in relation to a relationship or in connection to your own spirituality, again, that's a clarion call to connect back to yourself and back to spirit, right? We have head of the pack here. Oh my gosh, this is popping out. And I've seen Jupiter pop out so many times. So again, this is expansive energy for sure. It's about working through some of our conditioning as a collective when it relates to, yes, maybe relationship, seventh house, but more so our relationship with source, with God, with our belief system, our structure. Okay, we're expanding this. And I feel like collectively, we're all expanding the way that we view religion, marriage, family dynamics, our collective consciousness, our programming, etc. But with head of the pack here, it says successful competition, drive it, get it done, lead, finishing first, dominate, motivated, alpha male, persist, will to win. And to me, this is like Cancer energy, Capricorn energy, right? So Capricorn energy, it does teach us to be focused, to be in our own bossy energy, and not in a arrogant kind of way, but in a way that we get shit done, right? And of course, at the beginning of the year, we're all we have this will to win. So don't be disheartened by whatever emotions are coming up in this full moon, as they are temporary. And they just want to be seen, right? It's just, your higher self giving you insight as to feelings, or as to a disconnect between you and your own spirituality, so that you can, align yourself better to, abundance, love, success, etc., versus like this void energy of emptiness or feeling unfulfilled, loss, or lack. Let's see what other emotions are coming up in this full moon. Awe and anger. Two completely different emotions. Again, I feel like that is part of what we've been seeing here too, right? The duality, but also the similarities between Cancer and Capricorn energy that sit on the same axis, right? So again, anger may be coming up. If it is, I would implore your mechanisms to release it, whether that be meditation, whether that be exercise, whether that be writing it down and burning it today. If you're participating in the Reiki circle with me, then I encourage you to do that. I've done it. Some of us are overcoming grief, and this has come up as well a lot of times. And I learned this with someone else who's also has gone through grief. A lot of times, like when we're over the initial shock of what's happened, we don't realize that there's still grief underneath that we may be suppressing because we want to feel something else. But it's important, especially if it's coming up for you in this full moon in Cancer, to, feel that grief and work through it in the sense of feeling it, right? Acknowledging it and not suppressing it, okay? Again, at the end of every cycle, there is that mourning. So that can be taken in various contexts. It doesn't have to be because of death. Could be because of loss. Could be because of this time of year, because we've ended a year and started a new one. It could be so many things, right? If you are feeling lost, that is also something that's coming up. Lost and lost are both words here. So again, remember that you are protected, especially if you're being isolated. This is a form of protection for your energy, okay? Don't feed the separation wound. Instead, lean into it. Lean into your connection to spirit and source, and these emotions, because they're going to pass through you. And mine passed through like within 24 hours. I got the message and I was able to move through it. So let's see what guides are assisting us during this full moon in Cancer, and what message do they bring. So we've got Green Tara, so another card on protection. So remember that you're always protected. That's something that came up for me as well, like the transmutation work, the needing to protect my energy and stay sovereign. I had like also jewelry break that I was wearing this week. It's almost like they ran their course, they did their healing, now we're moving on. And I always look at my jewelry, the crystals I wear, as a form of protection as well. So maybe you're shifting in that. Maybe you're going to be wearing new or doing new protection practices. So we have you are protected, cords are being cut, move beyond limitation, and trust. Okay, so again, we are moving on beyond our own mental limitations this week, and I certainly felt that come up within the full moon energies. And then we have Freya. There is a beginning within every ending. Illusions are revealed and released. Yeah, so a lot of times whenever the moon energy is active, or we're triggered by any collective cosmic energy, whatever illusions come up, because sometimes they do, sometimes it's more our fears than what's actually happening, they're revealed to you so that you can release them. And that's what we're doing in this full moon. Illusions are being revealed, illusions of separation, illusions of loneliness, because we're always connected, we're always protected to our spirituality, right? To our guides, to source. And then lastly, life force. Express your driving passion. Sensual and sexual powers are increased. So those sexual energies are here as well. All right, you guys. So I hope that these messages resonating. Sending you so much love. Take care.